All right, so we're on a good learning streak already. And how many of you know what you want to do, possibly? And we always change, but for right now. All right, good. Who wants to share with everybody what they want to do? Let's say your name and then what you want to do.
My name is Brooklyn, and I want to do college football.
Okay, and you know to do college football, you have to have fantastic grades so you can get in and get a scholarship, right? All right, so you're listening to your teacher, right? So you can do that? Awesome. What about you?
My name is Javier. I want to finish saying that.
Awesome, so you heard what I just said, right? That's going to be key to getting into college.
My name is Jason. I want to be an Olympic gymnast.
Awesome, so are you gonna do it out of college? Like, you know, and then go to school for what you wanna do? Awesome. Oh, what? Oh, nice. So you're gonna blog videos? Do you know what your content's gonna be? Gaming? Okay, my son is 11 and told me you could make good money. Yeah. But he's the expert, he's 11. Right?
My name is Leon, and I want to do art.
Nice. We have some good programs for that. Go ahead.
My name is Jonathan Slade, and I want to do medical classes.
Medical,
Raise
like,
your voice, raise your voice.
My name is Joanna Gary, and I want to learn how to be a doctor.
nice. That's a good one. And it's actually going to take a lot of education. So you need to make sure you ask a lot of questions when you're in school. Take lots of science classes.
My name is Annalisa, and I want to be a soccer player.
Nice. So you're gonna do that through college and then do it professionally? When you're doing sports, you always wanna have a backup, so college is a good backup just in case, because sometimes when you do sports, you can get an injury and then you need something else to be able to do. So it's always good to do it, you know, do the sport, but also have a college education to back you up.
My name is Ariana, and I want to be a meteorologist.
A what?
Meteorologist.
Meteorologist, lots of science and biology and what, any more? Just everything science, right?
Everything science.
Science. So do you like science? Awesome,
My name is Lorraine, and I want to do art.
nice. There's a lot of schools that specialize in that, and I would take as many electives as you can going through middle school, high school that's related to art and do really well in those classes. I saw you.
My name is Juliet, and I want to be a doctor.
Nice, and you heard what I told her? What did I tell her?
Thanks.
You better get a good memory. What if I'm coming to you and I'm sick? And you give me medicine and you're gonna tell me you don't remember what I said? Oh goodness.
Don't throw my black.
Right? Lots of classes, lots of science, lots of people like psychology mixed in with science so that you understand people too. There are some interesting people that make stuff up. So you wanna know that too, right?
Yeah.
All right, so what do? I ask you guys a lot of questions. Well, the reason why I ask you that is I actually work for one of the biggest universities out there, Purdue University, and I'm in their division called Purdue University Global. So does anybody have an idea about why would we make this side and why would we call it global? Well, anybody want to take a guess?
Because you accept anyone?
Not exactly, but that's a good point. We will take anybody regardless of your age. You know, there's a lot of things that we took off the list to offer this entity. So this side is going to be the online 100% program that they now offer. And you can get it in 140 different programs that we have between social and behavioral sciences, which is typically what people that want to get into psychology, like a children and family worker, anything in that ball game, they usually go in that school. We have business, of course, where anything business. We have education where if you wanted to do teaching, you can do that all the way up to master's degree level. And master's degree is the highest level outside of a doctor that you can get. And there's only 3% of Americans that actually have a master's degree. So imagine what that can do for you if you have a master's degree, right? You're a teacher. You know.
Well, I have a specialist degree. There's a few credit below the doctorate. It's educational specialist degrees. That's above masters.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I have.
And it's helped you out a lot, right?
Yeah, well, financially.
Yes, exactly. But who wants to have money, right? Oh, see, I knew you guys would all agree with that. So who wants to take a guess at why Purdue University decided to do an online program, 100% online?
So you can get more applications?
You were so smart. Did your parents work for a college? No. Okay. But she's gonna be a salesperson, huh? From the sounds of it. But that is very high level and very smart. Yes, they needed more students. So that is very smart, right?
And also it costs less too.
Yes. So when your teacher brings up a good point. So if you go to school online, you don't have to pay for campus fees, you don't have to pay for parking fees, you don't have to pay for certain usage fees for different rooms like the library and things of that nature. You would have everything that a university has to offer 100% online on your computer. So what's important with this is that to go to school online, yes, you have to do an application, but a lot for our university, I can speak for Purdue University Global, you can actually get in once life has happened to you. What does that mean? So you could be somebody that's working full-time, you have kids, you know, and maybe you started life a little bit early, right? So for myself, I had my first degree, and my first degree was in a campus setting. I was working full-time as a swing manager. That means your hours could be all over the place and you could be in any store. So do you think that sounds like an environment for being able to go to school? Like, see? And that's how I was. So I waited until I was 25 because I had my first 2 children already. And I said, you know, I just really want to make more money, like your teacher said. So I said, this money is not cutting it. I'm killing myself working so many hours. I'm not spending enough time with the kids. So I made a decision to go back. That was the hardest thing ever. So when I decided to go back to school, thank goodness that we actually have online education. I was able to complete my bachelor's and my master's, get a 4.0, which is straight A's, right?
Wow, let's give our hand for that.
Wow.
A lot of effort to do that.
Listen for this too. Now more on my plate, now working full-time, having 4 kids, doing stuff in the ministry in church, and doing community give backs. And still able to do all of that and get straight A's because of online education. What does that mean for you guys? Everybody's situation is different, right? So some kids find themselves having to work straight after school to help out with family bills and things like that. A lot of those situations, a student gives up and says, you know, I can't do education, I can't go to school, I can't go to college because I'm too busy working. Well, now there's an option for them to work and go to school and still get their education so that by the time they're 25, instead of doing it a little bit backwards like I did, by the time they're 25, they can have their full bachelor's and be working and helping their family at the same time. Does that sound like a good thing? And so, who wants to take a guess? And I have these little papers for you if you want them, and it just helps to articulate a little bit about this, and it could serve as a cheat sheet for some of the questions that I can ask.
Yeah, pass out some. Yeah, pass out some.
So this gives you a picture of what online education can do for you. So one of the things that's very important to remember is that in online education, in order to think of that as an option for you, you have to have internet computer, and a plan. Who knows what a plan is? I choose you this time. That talks up so your classmates can hear. A what? Yes, she said when you can have everything sorted out. So the plan would be knowing what you want to do when you get older, knowing how you're going to fit the education even online into your schedule. And that's where someone like me comes into place. So I'm on the academia side where we help you keep your grades up. We make sure that you're going into the right career. Sometimes you're a little mixed up when you come in through admissions and you don't really know exactly what you want to do, and after taking a few classes you're like, I thought I wanted criminal justice because, you know, the show looks so interesting on TV, and then when you start learning about the stuff and all the details that go with it, you're like, no, that's maybe not what I want to do. I want to be on the legal side, and you realize you maybe want to be a paralegal. So then we come in and walk you through how to fix that and use the credits you already had. You have a question? You didn't get a paper? There you go. All right, so who remembers the 3 things I just said that you need to be successful with online education? One more. Anybody want to be the lifeline? There's one more thing. She said internet and plan. What do you use to do your classes? You can't just use internet. That too? Exactly. Perfect. So can you repeat the 3 of them then, since you got the last one? Mm-hmm. And plan. She knew because she gave the answer to what a plan is. That's awesome. All right, so why is this important? So many of your parents, your grandparents, my dad actually went to school online at Purdue University Global as well. And at 56, he earned his bachelor's degree. So there's never a time that it is too late to continue your education. You might get into a good job. Some people land a good job where you could make like close to the money you would make with a college education, but then something happens, right? And I know that we've probably seen that. And all of a sudden, they do what's called a layoff, letting people go. And then when they go to the next job, they say, oh, that's great that you have 10 years of experience, but the other requirement is you have to have a college degree. Then these people are like, wait, what? I have all this, experience, and I can't come in with this experience. Now that's when the online education comes in. They can work, go to school, and for people like that, we have experience credits where you can take your work experience and turn it into college credits. So there is so many options now that there is no reason that you should not have to make the time to go to college, okay? Any questions so far on what we went through? No? You? Yes, and that's actually what we were gonna talk about. Can you read the little black box that has the yellow writing for everybody? Yes.
What does happen in online university for life? It gives busy people like your mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, or maybe even me if I were after high school a chance at work and life.
And then there's a line there. So work and life what? It gives you work and life balance. That way you can still do everything you wanted to do and go to school without missing a beat. Then you have somebody like me that tells you about all the craziness that happened while I was in school and helps you, guide you along the way to make sure that you can be successful in your education, and I can help walk you down that graduation, stage when it's time. it doesn't matter what degree you get, you do graduate, whether it's an associate's, which is typically 2 years, a bachelor's typically 4 years, and a master's, which would be 6 to 7 years, depending on what type of master's you do. So in total, not each, it's like stacks on each other. Any questions about that? So what you wanna write in there, who wants to spell balance? You. Okay, so that's what you would put there. And I don't think black was a great choice for that box, but that's okay. Alright, so, who wants to tell me about who's that person in that picture there, the astronaut? Okay, and what is he famous for?
Being the first person to walk on the moon.
And guess why he's important?
Because of his career?
Yes, and the reason why we brought him up today is he's one of our most famous graduates from Purdue University Global. He graduated before there was an online entity, and it was just Purdue West Lafayette, and he actually graduated from the university that now offers online education to everybody so that they can get themselves in a place like this. Now, he graduated in 1955, okay? So, we're still talking about him in 2019, right? And he opened that door through college education, and then opened that door to many other people to follow and do what we have called NASA and everything now. None of that would have been possible if we didn't have all these people going to college. Some of us in the last class wanted to study science. You have to study science, like science, everything about science. Okay. Any questions about that? No? What did we learn today? Yes, perfect. That's right. Anybody else? Nobody learned anything? Does anybody think that their program could be in the mixture of the 140 programs we have to offer? Exactly. And then you have people like me to help you make that happen. Oh, I thought you were saying, you raised your hand, right? You guys better stop fooling me, you like this. So who wants something fun? Who wants to help me pass out some little goodies for Purdue Global? You can help. You seem like you have energy. You can help, and you can help. All right. All right. So I need you to do me a favor and pass one of these out to everybody. It's a sticker that you can put on something that your teacher says you can put it on or bring it home. And this is a card, so if any of you have like a phone and you have any kind of social media, I don't know if they let you do that at this age, you can use this to show about what you learned about today. And then I need you to help start passing this out. Make sure each one of them has a pen, okay? And these are for you to bring home, okay?
Okay.
And don't ping them at each other. Don't make your teacher upset, please. You want to help pass them out too?
Okay, I need it.
Just make sure when we're lifting them up, right, that we have a pen in them, so everybody gets a pen. All right. All right. If the ball or something fell out, this one here.
Good morning, teachers. Now is the time for you to head to your third rotation. Once again, teachers. Now it is time for you to head to your third rotation. Thank you so much.